on the back of their t-shirt are the images of bullet holes. And it is startling to see Coach Mike Tebow walking with bullet holes on the shirt in his back. And they are making a strong statement here tonight, and it is a unified statement. And all of their teams supported Washington when Washington came back out of that locker room and said, we cannot play. The other teams immediately said, we are with you and we will stand together. So a very emotional night here. It is tense. It is emotional. I see people who are upset, and yet they're standing unified in this moment. Ladies.
All right, Holly Rowe in Bradenton, Florida, thank you very much. And you can see the emotions from the players, staff members, a lot of tears, and not a decision that was made lightly. As Holly mentioned, Washington was the one team coming in when we were listening to some players talking on the floor that did not want to play. The other three teams playing in the earlier windows, Atlanta, LA, and Minnesota, seemed to be willing to play. But again, Washington went back into their dressing room and they decided they just could not do it. And there will be no WNBA basketball tonight. Connecticut Phoenix scheduled to play at 10. They will not play. And as we see the teams start to leave the court, I am Pam Ward along with LaChina Robinson as we continue to watch the images live with you. There's Candace Parker going off the floor. And LaChina, just to get your thoughts on what has really been sort of a wrenching last hour and a half for us here.
Boy, I mean, just quite an emotional scene. And one thing we know, Pam, is that these women have been on the forefront when it comes to fighting for social justice. And this was not an easy decision for a lot of reasons. Some players thinking, let's use this opportunity to play and use this platform and our voices in this space, use the game to bring attention to what's happening in our country. Others just emotionally shaken. I mean, how do you prepare yourself after these conversations to then go out and play a game? Are you even capable of doing that? And as we were watching these images, we saw players to whom we know this is a very personal thing. Tierra Ruffin-Pratt in LA, her cousin was killed by an off-duty police officer. You mentioned Tiana Hawkins and her son Emmanuel. Skylar Diggins-Smith tweeting earlier today, what if this was my husband? What if this was my son? This is a league of 80% Black women. So what's happening in our country to Black and brown people is very personal to these women. And the other thing of note is that they have been educating themselves, educating their communities during their season behind the scenes. I mean, these women have had conversations with Breonna Taylor's mother. So this is very personal to them in their own lives, but also as they have taken on the responsibility and talking to the families of some of these victims and people in the community and trying to figure out the best way to use their voices. And so I'm just in awe of this scene of these women coming together and using their voices in a way, looking at these images at the back of this shirt. I mean, it's just incredible what we're seeing right now.
And the Washington Mystics making the decision not to play. Holly Rowe in Bradenton with members of the Mystics. We'll go back to her.
So I'm here with the Unified Washington Mystics team and Ariel Atkins. You know, this was a long conversation. You were here on the court for quite some time talking with other teams about the decision tonight. What were some of the factors you considered going into this?
Just trying to put everybody in mind. Talking to our team and talking to other teams, we wanted everybody to feel like they were supported, and understanding that this isn't just about basketball. We aren't just basketball players, and just because we are basketball players doesn't mean that's our only platform. We need to understand that when most of us go home, we still are Black, in the sense that our families matter. Like, we got this little guy right here that we see every day. His life matters. He needs to know that he can do what he wants to do whenever he leaves his house, when he grows up. You know, within reason. Don't make you out there crazy, but he matters. And that's what people need to understand. Like, we're not just basketball players. And if you think we are, then don't watch us. You're watching our own sport, because we're so much more than that. We're going to say what we need to say, and people need to hear that. And if they don't support that, I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that my family's good in any way that I have to do. And if basketball is not it, God forbid, but that's what it is. We need to understand that these moments are so much more bigger than us. And I really appreciate my team for not only having my back, but saying what they feel. It's hard to say that type of stuff in these moments. It's hard to be vulnerable in these moments. But I think, like Nneka kind of said earlier, if we do this unified as a league, it looks different. because this league is close to, if not over 80% of black women. We have cousins, we have brothers, we have sisters, mothers, everyone. We matter. And I think that's important. I think people should know that. And I'm tired of telling people that. I know I matter. You know we matter. I'm tired of telling people that. If you don't know that, you don't think that, then you need to recheck it. And if you have a problem with us saying Black Lives Matter, you need to check your privilege. Because, yes, all lives matter, including the black lives we're talking about. Yes, we matter. And I think that's important. And people need to know that.
You guys had made a decision with the other teams, and then you went back in the locker room and kind of talked among yourselves. Why was it so important to you guys to not, have peer pressure and to come back out and say this, but then have everybody join you? Is they knew this mattered to your team and they joined you and they were solidified in that decision. How important was that?
That feels good because it goes to the point of our team and our league being unified. I know our team didn't want to play. When they started talking about the business side of things, it kind of changed our mindsets. But when we get down to the human decency of life, you choosing a human or you choosing a game. And when I kind of broke it down to that, it's like, think about that. The fact that we even have to make those two comparisons. I mean, we got Maisha the whole time. Maisha's always down, my dog. Always down. Like, she's going to say what she feels when she feels it. And I think that was important for us to hear. And we talked to a few of our other teammates that aren't here right now. And it was important for us to collectively come up with something that we feel would make a very bold statement. And a lot of people are like, oh, you'll be silenced. We black women, we used to people trying to tell us to shut up. We don't care. We here. We're going to say we got to say. We're going to say how we feel.
Oh, black woman.
As you move forward now,
Please
it's hard to know what's next. I know not every team is here tonight. And so what are the next steps that you will take
I'm recording.
to have a unified approach moving forward, and when and if basketball will resume?
I think coming into this bubble, we thought we would have more of an opportunity to have everyone unified as 144 players or some odd number around there. I think that'll be more of the focus going forward, trying to make sure that we are all in these conversations, literally everyone, and finding out ways that we can get to the law part of the problem. Can we get district attorneys to make those
Oh
decisions?
my
Can we get people
goodness.
to see the stories of the women and the men who have been killed, and finding ways to use our platform as humans, period, to show what is happening in this world and to find a way, like you said, call to action, find a way to get this thing moving forward. And how can we put pressure on the people that say they support us, the big supporters, and help them help this thing move forward as well?
Well, thank you. I applaud all of you. This is a beautiful unified statement tonight, and we
Ooh,
appreciate you
child.
talking to us. I know it's not been easy, and thank you so much, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly.
Oh,
All
child.
right, Holly, with members of the Washington
When's it gonna
Mystics,
be
as
a
Ariel
thief?
Atkins puts her hands on Emmanuel's head. And the Washington Mystics, for the last several years, actually, have been at the forefront of several of these social justice movements. Certainly intensified this year, playing in a pandemic, in a bubble, with the police brutality continuing in the United States. The Breonna Taylor name on all the jerseys of every player in the WNBA. And yes, all three games will not be played tonight, including the Mystics and the Dream, which we're scheduled to be playing right now here on ESPN2. And just hearing LaChina, Ariel Atkins speak, she doesn't speak a lot. She's usually a woman of very few words, but just nailed it right there.
Yeah, that's the most we've probably heard her speak since entering the WNBA. But what stands out?
What stands out is that this woman just had some very powerful words. And for me to see these women stand up in unity like that right now is historic. And that's black women in America. You don't have to go to Africa. Africa is in them. And it's the nature of the black woman is to take care of the world, take care of the people. She's a nurturer. And injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. I know my boy, Mylan Marty, is very upset. He's down because he's all piped up to see the Lakers. I wanted to see the Lakers. I'm a big Steelers fan. Golden Knights is killing it right now. We got our sports back for a minute to, kind of distract us or just give us a wazoo or whatever. to you know, not just be focused on the task at hand, but I think America is starting today, you know, a message has been sent, very powerful message from these women in the WNBA. Shout out, much love to the whole WNBA organization and all of the members and players, management of the organization. The NBA has canceled games for today. We have at least one Major League Baseball game that won't be played. Calm down. And this is the emotionally historical day for me because, you know, I'm really feeling that we're waking up. I think we're waking up and we're starting to see things for what they are. And you gotta see what's wrong before you can make it right. I just felt compelled to share something, you know, and let's see how we do going forward. We got a lot of work to do, y'all. And this money line back, I just want to tell everybody that your ghetto pass is about to get, could be 9 years old September. Let's try to get along. Let's try to work this out. Let's try to do this right. It is what it is, and let's make it what it's supposed to be. That being said, I'll get back with y'all. Shout out to all love, planet Earth.